hearings. Only speak when invited to by the chair. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and direct all communication via the chair. Please ensure that your mics are muted when you are not speaking. When speaking, please be succinct and not exceed the allocated time frames. If referring to any written submissions, please refer to the specific page number in the agenda pack. Any new evidence can only be submitted at the discretion of the chair and the agreement of all parties. If you are having technical difficulties, please use the chat function to alert the meeting or dial in using the details in the invitation. Please do not use the chat function for putting formal questions to the subcommittee. Any persistent disruptive behaviour will result in removal from the meeting. Once the application has been considered, any remaining parties will be asked to log out of the hearing. Please do so promptly so that councillors will have the opportunity to deliberate and make a decision. The licensing service will be able to inform each party of the skeletal decision within 5 working days. I'd now like to hand over to members to elect a chair.
Oh, sorry, Councillor. After you.
I nominate Councillor Sizer. Sorry, Lynn.
Yeah, I second that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm happy to stand in as chair. So thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you to everyone for attending today. Before we actually start, I'd like to ask all members and officers to introduce themselves, and then I'll ask the attendees for their respective agenda items to introduce themselves before we hear each application. So can we first ask for the members and officers to introduce themselves?
My name's Lynn Troughton. I'm a ward councillor in Kings Park.
I'm Councillor Richard Lufkin. I'm Vice Chair of the Licensing Committee, and I'm a councillor in Shackerwell. In relation to that, because the first item, substantive item on the agenda, is in Shackerwell, I will withdraw for that item. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Subhash Sriramana, Principal Licensing Officer, and I will be presenting the reports this afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda North from Legal Services, and I'm supporting members this afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Natalie Williams. I'm Senior Governance Officer.
Good afternoon. My name is Iqbal Hussain. I'm a trainee solicitor providing legal and governance support.
I think that's it. So just to introduce myself, I'm going to be the chair. My name is Councillor Sizer, Councillor Anya Sizer, Hoxton East and Shoreditch. So thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item 2, which is apologies for absence. Apologies have been received from Councillor Smith. Councillor Troughton is in attendance, so thank you, Councillor Troughton, for substituting. And there will be a little bit movement between 2 of the councillors with any conflicts of interest. So agenda item 3, declarations of interest. Do members have any interest to declare? Councillor Lufkin.
As previously stated, I'm a councillor for Shackerwell Ward, so I will now withdraw and I'll rejoin the meeting when we consider the next substantive item. Thanks very much.
Right, thank you.
I have no interest in the agenda items, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't either, so that's fantastic. Move on to agenda item 4, which is minutes of the previous meeting. I can see that there are no minutes for consideration, so we can move straight on to agenda item 5, which is the licensing subcommittee hearing procedure. So can I ask the legal officer to outline the hearing procedure as contained within the agenda pack?
Yes, Chair, I'll just do that. The hearing procedure is that the step 1, the appointment of chair, has been done. The step 2 is the licensing officer will present the report. Step 3, the applicant will present their case. to make set out the reasons why they're seeking the application. Step 4, there are no responsible authorities, so we will not be hearing from them. However, there are other persons, so the next step will be for any other persons, local residents, to make their representations. I believe that there are 2 other persons in this application. And step 6 will be a discussion phase for members to get clarification on any issues that they have concerns with, or to help them to make their decision. Step 7 will be closing remarks, and step 8, the final conclusions or clarifications before the meeting is then closed, and then members are then retired to make their decision, and they will notify parties of the decision after 5 working days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, really helpful. Before we proceed, I'd like to advise all present that this application will be heard before myself and Councillor Troughton, as stated, because of the application being in Councillor Lufkin's ward. I can confirm that the subcommittee has received and reviewed the additional information submitted from residents in support of the application, and the additional information submitted by other persons who submitted representation at Appendix B2. So this will be agenda item 6, Escudo de Cuba, ground floor and basement in 20 Stoke Newington Road, Shacklewell Ward. I've been advised that the following persons are in attendance for this application. When I call your name, please can you identify yourself? So we have the agent, Reese Rose. I think you're muted, Reese.
Sorry, I was muted there. I'm in attendance, yes.
Brilliant, thank you very much. The applicant, Ibrahim.
Ibrahim Akbulut.
Yep, great.
He's with me.
Wonderful, thank you. We have a witness, Amadeo Martini.
Yep, present.
Great, thank you. And then we have 2 other persons who would like to be referred to as B1 and B2. So B1, are you there? B1? There is a name for B1, but I'm loath to give it because we've been asked to state as B1. Amanda, do we know if B1 is here?
I'm not aware of whether they're here or not, but if they're not, and you have called, all we can do is move on, and hopefully if they are present that they'll make themselves known shortly. Thank you.
Okay, and was B2 here? Was I right that B2 was here earlier? Yeah, great, thank you. I can see the way.
Can I just advise that B1 was here earlier? I'm not sure where they were when we did a check. They did join earlier via phone. And I think they may have dropped off the call. Yeah, I might just send them an email just to see.
Thank you.
Okay.
Reese, yes.
Sorry, Chair. I think when we did the introductions before when they were logging on, it was B2 that was on the telephone, but they can maybe confirm that themselves.
I thought it was B2 that was present. Yes, thank you, Reese. Hopefully B2. B2, are you present?
I am, Councillor. I appreciate the thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Apologies for the background barking. I'd like to call the Acting Principal Licensing Officer to outline the report for the next 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. So the first item we are going to consider is for an application for a premises license received under Section 17 of the Licensing Act 2003 for the premises Escudo de Cuba for the ground floor and basement, 20 Stoke Newington Road. The premises is seeking permission for recorded music and late night refreshment from 2300 to 23:30 Sunday to Thursday, and from 2300 to 2:30 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, and to authorize the supply of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises from 11 to 23:30 Sunday to Thursday, and from 11 to 2:30 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Representation remains from other person. We have received additional submission, which is a support letter from the applicant, And we have also received an additional submission from B2. All these documents have been circulated, and I have nothing else to add. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Really helpful. Can I ask the applicant's agent, Reese Rose, to make your submission, please?
My opening statement. Yeah.
Yes, you have 5 minutes. Up to 5 minutes.
What's the document name that's got the additional documents from the from B2? I can't see that one anywhere in my pack. I mean, I'll look at it in a second when I've had my 5 minutes. So if you could just tell me what I'm looking for on the website.
Suba, could you advise? Thank you.
It was received this morning, so you should have received through email.
Oh, only today? Okay. And is it supplementary pack 2 or something? What's it called on the? Does it? Inbox. 1 second.
Yeah.
I can ask for it to be resent for you as well, if that would help. So it's at the top of your email box.
This one here.
Yeah.
Preview the file. Is it called Tipsy PDF?
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
I'm going. I that one didn't come through earlier when I was looking, so I will have to download that and have a look at it. But okay, I'll do that afterwards anyway. And I'll come back to this first. Hello, my name is Reese Rose. I'm acting as agent on behalf of Escudo de Cuba and Mr. Ibrahim Akbalut. I just wanted to run quickly over a summary of everything that we've done with this licensing application. So there was extensive pre-application consultation with the Metropolitan Police, particularly Amanda, and we met to discuss the finalisation of the idea of including the off sales tables only in the table area. Which we could have applied for as a minor application as part of the fast track minor application variations for setting in stone relaxations of off sales, which were there to help assist with COVID. But we decided to put it all into one application to try and make sense of the whole license. There were a few conditions on the license that were a little old and a little hard to enforce. So we prepared the document, the changes that we proposed, which I think you can probably see, I will have seen in the pack, and Amanda was happy with that. So that's where the bulk of the conditions in the application came from. We also agreed with Environmental Health that we would accept their recommended changes to the application, which was a sort of a note rather than a representation, which has also been put in there. We as a summary, we've given back most of the licensable activities, which better represents how the business is now run. It doesn't really do any of the other things other than a bit of recorded music and food and drink. It's become more of a restaurant and is a lot less sort of event-led than it used to be many years ago. Over the last 6 years, it's settled into that and it's not interested in being an event-led venue anymore. It wants to be a food and drinks venue, and it just wants the conditions to match across the venue so that there's no confusion about how the space is run. Amanda was in agreement with that and said that this was the most sensible process for us to go through. Obviously, we have actually not applied for any increase in the capacity of the space, so it won't change the number of people that are allowed to be in the area in any way, shape or form. All we've done is make the 2 levels of the premises have the same licensable hours. And with regards to the two representations that were made, we've suggested conditions and tried to respond to them as appropriate, with the hope of maybe talking to them prior to the hearing. The conditions that we suggested, I believe, are condition 44 and 45 on page 24 of the agenda pack, which address the concerns raised in the first public rep with regards to the disabled access over the bobbled floor, which I would happily have you consider and add to the conditions that we would take on board. And we couldn't get hold of, I think it's B2 at all, to have any discussion, so we weren't able to make any further resolution with that area. Yeah, as I said, the main reason for it is to make the license more manageable and sensible in terms of the police and the premises owners, and the whole purpose of it is not to increase the number of people in the area. So like when we've done that, we've been in consultation with the closest local residents group, the Millers Terrace group, and I think if you've got the supplementaries for it, there are, I think it's for over 40 signatures, which are very recent, which are in support of the application from the Millers Terrace group and other local residents who have read what Millers Terrace had to say and agree with it, which we think is an overwhelming local support for the project. I am going to leave you with that there and go and read the supplementary document so that I can try and catch up when ready for it. But if there's any further questions, we're obviously here to answer them. Amadeo is the president of the local residents group.
Thank
Okay.
you. That was really helpful and to time, which is really appreciated. What I'd like to do actually as chair is bring in Amadeo. We don't always do this, but it'd be nice to give you 2 or 3 minutes to hear your perspective as well, especially as chair of a residents group. So if you could just stick to 2 or 3 minutes, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm Amadeo Martini, so I'm the chair of the Millers Terrace Residents and Tenants Association. We established ourselves primarily to kind of improve the neighbourhood, and we consist of a collection of owners, renters, and some sort of tenant owners as well. I'm here really to kind of reiterate what was written in the letter that we sent collectively, and has been, as you say, signed by kind of many neighbours. That the kind of use of that area really aligns with what we've been trying to do, which is to really improve the neighborhood. Ibrahim's really made efforts to kind of like improve that corner of the street. What I said in the letter, which we feel really strongly about, is particularly about a kind of passive surveillance late at night. So there are many young women who live here, and often they don't feel safe, or they haven't felt safe in the past coming home up this alleyway, because it's not really monitored by anyone. Since that area has been used, there's been just like an overwhelming sort of increase in the sense of safety that people feel just coming home. Even myself, you know, like there's been some sort of dodgy stuff that used to happen around here. I've lived here for 8 years. Like that area used to be used for like basically just like a public toilet. There was like drug dealers hanging around, people using drugs there. Like it was just a sort of like car park, where now it feels like a part of the community, and we really appreciate having it there. You know, and everybody more or less up and down this street is really supportive of that. So yeah.
That's really helpful. Thank you. Thank you for coming today as well. Can I just ask the rest of the subcommittee if there are any points of clarity and clarification at this stage? Okay. Thank you. So we have some other persons in attendance who submitted representation at Appendix B1 and B2. So B2, are you still there?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I'm still here.
Great, thank you very much. So I'm going to give you a few moments to speak as well. Your submission should be in line with the 4 licensing objectives, where possible repetition should be avoided. Points made that don't relate to the licensing objectives cannot be taken into consideration when making a decision, but we'd be really keen to hear your perspective as well, please.
I'm most grateful to you, Madam Chairman. I should point out that the Residents Association person didn't make written representations, and I don't believe was acting as a witness either, except it, well, only perhaps in part. And both of those took over 8 minutes to make their representation. So I'd just like you to bear that in mind, if you would.
Absolutely, yes. I was advised pre the session today to take them into account in terms of a witness, so it doesn't have the same weight as the applicant, but it was important for us to hear from the residents' perspective. But taking that into account, please take between 5 and 8 minutes yourself.
I'm most grateful to you, Madam Chairman. So if I may begin then, I had a long history with this place. It's been a persistent nuisance over many years. And I mean, I've even appeared in the magistrate's court on behalf of the council, appearing as a witness for the council. So I do know this premises very well, and I've heard the Residents Association person there. I've got nothing to say about that particularly. except I probably don't think it will make too much difference, except I think it will probably displace a lot of the problems, probably a little nearer to their homes. But I'll leave that with them. I have no particular objection to the outside area situation. My concern is more to generally actually with the attitude of the applicant, or rather the DPS, who I believe is representing the applicant today. And if you actually read the application form, you'll see there it's all about the vibrant Dalston strip. It's repeated more than once, and I think that it is indicative of the attitude of this of the DPS and the premises license owners, that they think that the Stoke Newington Road is an area essentially where you can do what you like, and they certainly have done so over the years. I hear Mr. Rose, and he sort of briskly moved through the fact they are actually asking for an extension of hours for the ground floor until the terminal hour of 2:50 AM, which is beyond core hours. He didn't make any representation as to why that would be why an exception to the core hours policy of the council should be made. There's all sorts of issues. Capacity is certainly an issue. Vertical drinking is an issue. I've read the conditions and they are not really watertight in any way. In fact, I believe they're deliberately they're deliberately window dressing. Many of them are confusing, and I'm concerned about noise breakout. I'm concerned that people will be going from one part of the premises to the other, and the noise will be breaking out of it. And the previous licensing history is not available, so you can't see that. The capacity needs to be clarified very clearly. Essentially, I can't trust the applicant. The way they've acted previously, they've said particularly that they've used residents of Miller's Terrace before, saying that they would have a security guard there, and then they switched the entrance. So that was a sneaky trick they played previously. So I don't have any confidence in them. And what I'm really looking for from the licensing committee, or your good self, is to have some watertight conditions which are actually enforceable. And as it is, I don't believe these are particularly well written. I think they're lacking in certainty and enforceability. And I think there's a big problem. I'm looking at 36, 37, 38. They're going to be using, this essentially is a cocktails and nibbles establishment. I hear they're moving away from entertainment, but they're asking for recorded music on both floors, and they've asked for an increase of hours. Essentially, they're adding a whole new premises. And they say there's no increase in capacity. Well, the capacity was always over the odds anyway. So all in all, I know I really would like you to take a look at this very carefully. It's a new license application. I'm disappointed that you don't have licensing there to give you their opinion on these particular conditions and their enforceability. And I'm concerned that this will cause nuisance. At this hour, we're talking 2:50, 3 o'clock in the morning. And the attitude of the applicant, again, I'll try not to repeat myself, has been lacking. They did originally apply for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, for non-standard hours. As it is, they still have Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, and I think this is difficult. These are difficult times for people. Some of us actually live here. I have to put up with the noise from these premises, and this one has been a problem over many, many years. So I'll leave it there for the moment, Madam Chairman, and I'd be very grateful if you could look very carefully at these conditions. As I say, they are lacking in certainty, and I think much of them are pretty useless, and I'd be happy to clarify that.
Thank you. I really appreciate a very thorough response. We've got about 10-15 minutes now to have a discussion. here about some of the issues raised. So I'd like to hand over and ask, first of all, Councillor Troughton, if there are any issues that you would like to bring up at this stage.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I would like to just ask a few questions arising from B2's representation. B2, would you kindly put yourself on mute? Thank you. Firstly, how long has the applicant been the licence holder? That's for the officers.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes,
Yeah.
I have the licensing history here. I mean, going back to...
Oh, I'm sorry. I think Councillor Troughton was addressing that to the officers. Is that right?
Yeah, but they don't know, Councillor. Frankly, I've got a better license.
Well, I know, but I do need to, as Councillor Troughton's addressed the officers, I want to give them the first right of response. So if you can just pause a moment and I'll just hand over to the officers.
So we got Mr. Ibrahim Akmut as the license holder since 2013. I just want to confirm whether he took over from 2013 or the license was transferred in between. But if you can give me a few minutes, I can just check that bit. Thank
you. So you mentioned something about changing the entrance. Can you sort of elaborate on that point, B2? I didn't quite understand. It's the first time I've understood that there to be more than one entrance. So would you mind just elaborating on that point about which entrances you're talking about?
Certainly. Originally, the entrance to the basement was at the end of Miller's Terrace. Well, where basically where the T junction is in Miller's Terrace, basically at the back of the premises. And the applicant, well, it was the applicant applied for regulated entertainment in the basement and an extension of hours. And the idea, the pitch was that the extension of hours would afford for a security guard to be at the back of the premises at a later time, and that would give some sort of extra security to the residents. And then 6 months later, the applicant put in an application which switched the entrance from the back of the premises to the front of the premises, so that didn't really apply anymore. It was essentially a ruse to get extra hours.
Councillor Troughton, would you like any clarification on that?
Yeah, I would like, yeah, I would like the officers to come back and explain their perspective on that. If
okay, yeah. Can I bring in the officers first, and officers first if they have any background on that, and then the applicant. I'll give you a right of response.
When I look back into your system, the license was granted in 2013, so it was in the limited company, Ecodo Limited, and it's been the same since then.
Okay, so maybe the applicant could clarify about the entrance situation, because that's, you know, completely new information for us, I think.
I mean, it's also got nothing to do with this application. It's previous history, and in this application we have taken extensive, like we have met several times with Amanda and been in good email communication from the Met Police, Amanda Griggs, and the conditions that we have prepared have been prepared and gone backwards and forwards and removed even more elusive conditions that were in the previous application. I mean, I can respond to everything that was said if you want me to. By B2.
Well, perhaps you could explain what entrances there are to the premises, what hours they are open, and what security there is on any of those entrances.
The entrance to the premises is through the front doors at present. They don't use the rear premises, but they also don't do regulated entertainment anymore. It's a cocktail bar with additional seating downstairs and a very food-led operation, not nibbles and cocktails. It's full food menu from pizzas all the way through to a wide range of Cuban themed food. So like it's not a nibbles menu by any way, shape or form, and it's seated. All the tables are at table service, which is one of the conditions. The conditions for noise breakout were satisfied on the previous license, if we're going to talk about the previous license, and we said we would keep them and go through them again with environmental health, who then came back and made those suggestions for the modifications. The recorded music complaint about this, the first floor, there is a condition 37 says that the first floor, the ground floor, sorry, must remain as background at all times. So we are just making sure that we're not breaking the law by playing recorded music past 11 p.m. on the ground floor background by applying for it to be correct, so that it will still be a lounge bar vibe on the ground floor, seated with table service, which will not increase the amount of music. It's not making another venue on the ground floor. It's creating an atmosphere in the background of people who are seated with table service on the ground floor during that time. The front door is the main entrance and exit, and will be used as such, because it's a long way from the front door to the louder music in the basement through the venue, and it's better for noise leakage for Miller's Terrace to not use that side door.
So you're saying the rear entrance won't be used at all?
It's an emergency exit now, yeah.
It's an emergency exit only. So there's no admission, let's say, through the rear entrance. Is that correct?
No, there isn't, and there's SIA managing the security on the street, as set out in the license.
Now, some of the photographs sent in show clearly that tables have been situated over the pebbled paving, or the tactile paving, I should say. The conditions from markets, about the use of the frontage is very specific around the distance. It's got to be 2 meters in length, 1 meter in width. So that allows, I think, for 4 tables probably. Well, there's more than 4 tables on those photos. So, that has been a clear sort of breach of what was allowed. Can you make any comment about that?
I can't see on those photos any evidence that supports that. That's late at night. Many people passing on the street. They're not at tables, those people. They're just passing by on one side of it and queuing for entrance on the other side of it. The smoking areas around the corner. The tables and chairs go away at 11 p.m. on the side street, and then there are actual tables licenses for the tables at the front door. The tables have not covered the bubbles since we had the complaint, because we looked into it and double checked all of the documents that we were supposed to do and took advice. And we're probably going to apply to Hackney to see if we can actually reinstate the curb across in front of Miller's Terrace if it's possible. But that's by the by. That's nothing to do with making the decision now. But like the tables and chairs are within the table and chair areas that are issued on the tables license on the front of the street, and they're gone at the time of night that these photos look like they were taken. I don't really understand what we're looking at on these photos.
They were blocking the paving area to walk down that sort of side road into, to get behind into Miller's Terrace. They were, anyway, on the photos that I looked at, they may have been the ones that came out today. But anyway, but you accept that those should be left clear, and that there shouldn't be any on that time.
They are cleared, and the Miller's Terrace is a private street. So the section that we're specifically talking about with regard to the bubbles is if you walk from the premises north towards Stoke Newington, there is a section of raised curb that has had tarmac filled all the way up to it, that has bubbles on it, and it's all level now. And it's just
but it's still an access. It's still an access point to get to around the corner. So someone, would have to walk through the planters in order to. But anyway, I think we are
we're digressing. Yeah, the planters go all the way around into Miller's Terrace now, and that's something that they've been working on to try and make the terrace nicer. There are planters all the way through, but the whole of that road has been tarmacked by the client and Miller's Terrace working together in conjunction to try and improve the quality of the area, to make it more level and make it a nicer area. But maybe Amadeo could confirm more on that, or I could hand you over to Ibrahim.
I think we're clear on that issue.
Yeah,
I'm happy about that.
I had one more thing. Sorry, the point saying that we were trying to hide the capacity. It quite clearly on page 30 in the descriptions, which is the description of the premises and the reason for the license application, on paragraph, I think it's 8 or 9, it says 180 people, which was the previous capacity of the basement, is the maximum capacity, with 70 on the ground floor at any one time. I think that's quite clear, just making sure that you knew that that was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I would like, sorry, I'd like to pick up on the pavement issue again, as one of the issues that was raised with concern was from a disability group, and I would like some reassurance in terms of access around, extra reassurance, as there's been a submission around concern from a disability group. So I would like to hear how that's going to be addressed, please.
I mean, we've suggested a condition that says if we do cover that access, that we are in breach of our license, and that we haven't. We since we've had the complaint, we have not covered it, basically. And I don't really. I mean, people who are in movement along the street, we don't have any control of, because it belongs to Hackney, not us. So if people are stopping and talking, making their mind up where they're going, all we could do is move them on if somebody came along and needed to use that access. But we are not covering that access, and we won't cover that access, and that would be a breach of our license under the conditions that we've offered if we did do that.
Can I ask if there's been any communication between yourself and the disability group?
The disability group hasn't responded to us, and we went to see if we could post a letter manually, but there doesn't seem to be anything at the address that was that comes up when you type the disability group's name into Google. So we've tried twice to speak to them through the council with the responses that we've made, and we've had no response from them to open any kind of engagement. I don't know how else to get in touch with the disability group. Their website was last updated, I think, about 10 years ago. I'm struggling to figure out how I would get in touch with them. I've made efforts.
Okay, thank you. That led on to my final point, and then I'll bring you in, Lynn, which is about correspondence between yourself and a wider residents group. It's great to hear the communication between the ones that have been present today, but how are you proactively reaching out to other residents in the area that will have concerns?
I mean, the only part of the process that deals with that is the blue notice and the advertisement. So obviously we've gone through the correct process, putting our application into the newspaper, and we haven't had anybody else complain who we would have tried to reach out to, making representations. And neither has the blue notice brought that up, other than the 2 representations that we've had. I don't know if there's any way that Councillor Lufkin could at some point later get in touch with us and introduce us to other residents groups. We are welcome. We would welcome interaction with them. There is not a problem with that at all. So we would take any advice that we can to get in touch with more people. It's just if they don't come forwards during the application process, I'm not sure what else that we can do.
It was less about this specific issue and more ongoing open communication. It's one of the things that we find with licensed places, that where it works best is where there's regular and open communication with local residents. So I just encourage you to see that as part of the ongoing responsibility that you have. I'm sure any local councillor would want to help, but thinking about, residents' engagement, I think, is an important part of it. I'll leave it at that, because that's more of a to think through. Councillor Troughton.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, could I just ask the applicant about how dispersal is managed and would be managed, particularly given the proposed later hours? And also to ask whether you would be accepting of a closing time that is in line with other venues in the area, which is 2 AM. Thank you.
I mean, we've specifically got the end of sale of alcohol and the regulated entertainment at 2:30, including food. and then there's another 20 minutes of cooling down time, and then you're permitted additional 20 minutes under the old grandfathering from the old licensing act to get people out. So we don't rush people out. We let people leave as they are finishing what they're doing over a 30-minute period, really, before we would kick people out in the street, which means that people tend to leave steadily over that amount of time. And that was discussed with Amanda Griggs from the Met Police, and she was happy with that. And at the moment, there is no cumulative impact zone. It's under review. And the reason that we put the application in is to bring the two halves of the premises in line with what was already granted, so that the business can continue as it was. So we wouldn't really want to bring it back to 2 a.m.
Councillor
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. He has.
Okay. So we've heard quite a bit. What I would like to do is concluding remarks, please.
Madam Chairman, I have said nothing in this.
No, I was literally about to bring you back in. I'm about to bring you back in, and so that you can have your concluding remarks. So you can.
No, Madam Chairman, apologies. I think I'm entitled to have some word in the discussion, if that's okay. I've had no response at all.
If you can, what I'll do is I'll extend the time that you've got with the concluding remarks, so you can have any time now. You can have 3-4 minutes.
Well, Madam Chairman, you've made no discussion at all about the conditions, which are lacking, and I've had no chance to have any kind of discussion about the remarks made by the applicant's agent, who has plausible deniability, and has made a number of assertions which aren't true. For instance, the full food menu. None of these hours, not the extended hours for the ground floor, they're not going to have approved food menu. Let me test that one, Madam Chairman. Let me just say.
Can I just pause you a moment, and I want to just check with the officers that we can have capacity to have this extra time then, please.
Extra time? I haven't had any word in the discussion at all.
Okay. Can I bring in one of the officers to just double check with this?
Chair, what we're doing is we're limiting the discussion phase to any queries that members have as to whether or not they need any further information to make their decision. It isn't going to be open for parties attending to just make further representations. So anything else, I think it is fair, Chair, for you to allow additional time if he wants to make any additional comments. But I think that we have to limit it. Plus, we also have a very long agenda today, so we have to put that in. Thank you.
Okay. So B2, what I'll do is I am going to give you some extra time that you can comment on what you have heard and then conclude. So I can give you 4 minutes. So that's way past what we were going to give anyway. So you can comment on anything that you've heard and then do concluding remarks, and we are listening.
Well, Madam Chairman, I've got to wonder whether I'm going to get a fair hearing here. I'll just point that out. I did ask you to consider that the conditions that were being proffered here are inadequate, and you haven't asked me any questions about them. For instance, I would like you to consider the fact that the full food menu isn't really a reality at all. There is a condition that if you want to remove the word primarily from condition 35, that would be satisfactory. But as it is, what you basically have is a cocktails and nibbles establishment. And whatever representation to you otherwise is not right. As for entertainment, well, you're being asked to grant an entertainment license. So, and a recorded music license for a basement club called Tipsy, which is what it's called. Whatever the name is on the application. There will be vertical drinking. There is no dispersal policy. And the picture I provided you is from the current use on a Sunday night being operated after the regulated hours. And you can see there's a child there who is leaving the premises at nearly 1 a.m. on a Monday morning. That's a Sunday night, Monday morning. This is how the premises is being operated. I've got no confidence in the DPS, and I've got no confidence in these conditions. If you read them, much of them are window dressing. You want to address yourself to condition 36, for instance. The last sitting for the restaurant on the ground floor shall be no later than 1 hour before closing sales of alcohol cease. I ask you to look at that and consider, what does that actually mean? I wonder how no entry or re-entry is going to be governed. And I have to say to you that the capacity is already overplayed as it is. So 180 people, that condition 38 needs tightening up. It's not clear. It's not clearly enforceable. Maybe you could look at that. I don't believe this is going to be really, they are promoting the licensing objectives of this, Madam Chairman, and they don't really have an intention to do that. It's certainly not the way they've operated over many years. They've had speakers in the front blaring out music. They've had particular problems with dispersal. I don't see a dispersal policy, I'll say that again. And it concerns me that you would grant a license for these hours beyond core hours, which is the policy, without a dispersal policy, and with the operator continually in breach of conditions which you yourself have pointed out to the applicant's agent, and the applicant's agent has just said, well, I don't even see it. Madam Chairman, I could say a lot more about these conditions, but I don't want to make a speech here particularly. What I really wanted was you to look forensically at this license, because it's a very important document, and the enforceability of it is the key to promoting the licensing objectives, which I don't believe that this will do. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Troughton, have you got a quick point?
Well, yeah, just a point for clarification, because condition 6 refers to cigarette ends, a receptacle for cigarette ends. 37 is music to be played at background level only. 38 is that the premises shall operate primarily as a restaurant and table service. So I'm not quite sure what B2 is, which conditions B2 is referring to. He's given those numbers, but they don't relate to anything really that he said.
I think it's page 23 that's being referred to. Is that right? B2, can I ask you to come in?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm referring to the proposed conditions in the report. There are two sets of conditions. There's one at the beginning and one at the end. The one at the end is the existing conditions, and the one at the beginning is the proposed.
Right.
I'm referring to
yeah, okay, sorry, yeah, I understand now.
So I'm particularly referring to the condition 35, which says operate primarily. That means it can operate secondarily as a cocktails and nibbles place, which is exactly what they'll be doing late at night at the extended hours that you might consider giving them. This 36, I have no idea what this means. Last sitting for the restaurant on the ground floor shall be no later than 1 hour before the closing sales of alcohol cease. It's purely window dressing as far as I can see.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you for clarifying which part. That was the one that I was reading. Councillor Troughton, are you satisfied with that now? You know which bit we're referring to? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Amanda, yes.
Yes, Chair. Chair, did you get clarification about the type of license in respect of the license that was issued in 2013, I believe? Was the name the Tipsy license, whether or not that is still being used, or if it's a new operator?
Okay, would that be something best answered by the applicant? Okay, so what I will now do is turn to the applicants. You can have 4 minutes as well, but what I would just personally like to see included in those 4 minutes is an answer around the dispersal policy, which I do think is still outstanding. And also the point just raised now by Amanda in terms of the licensing title. So if you could use that within the 4 minutes, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Hi there. So just, I don't think there's very much for us to say on a lot of the points that we've discussed. I think we've done a fairly thorough job, and thank you for your time. Basically, we are happy for you to add an additional condition that says we must produce a dispersal policy and agree it with the Metropolitan Police Service, if that satisfies your questions regarding a dispersal policy. And that would mean that the police would approve that, and they would be the people who are responsible for crime and disorder and the kind of things that come around not having a dispersal policy in place. With regards to the title, the premises is called the Scudo and Cuba, but there is the name Tipsy around the premises as well, but the actual premises name applied for was Escudo de Cuba, so we were not confusing matters by changing the premises name.
Is there anything else you wish to say in summary and concluding remarks?
No, I mean, in summary, we think we've done a very thorough discussion of everything, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Can I ask all of the subcommittee if there are any final points of clarity that you want to check in with?
That's fine, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Well, I think I will conclude at that stage. Thank you. A decision will be sent within 5 working days. However, a skeleton decision will be available from the licensing service 5 working days after the hearing. So thank you for your time. If you're not on the next application, we will say goodbye and thank you for your attendance today. And I'll ask the subcommittee to reconvene now briefly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Much obliged.
Chair, I think that we need to ask for an adjournment for 5 to 10 minutes or so, whilst...
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, that's what I was meaning. There'll be an adjournment for 5-10 minutes and then we'll be back on for the next application. So we will be back just after 3 o'clock. Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Just to say that the chair will be rejoining the meeting shortly. She's taking a 5-minute comfort break, and so we will be resuming shortly. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
It's 5 minutes, isn't it?
Sorry, could you say that again, please?
Hi, Amanda. It's Kyriakos here from a bar. I just want to check, when is our turn for our hearing? And
Yes,
how
you'll
do
have to wait. It will be after. There's 2 more applications before your application.
Do you know roughly what time? Because I have a very busy day and I didn't realize that you have other meetings, which I do appreciate that. Do you know how long will it take before our hearing?
I'll just check. The chair has just rejoined. Councillor Sizer, what time should the bar the 10 return?
So that's item 8, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I do apologise for the delay. We've got a very packed schedule, and so I do understand. We will aim to do this one in about 30-40 minutes.
To see us.
So item 7 will take the next 40 minutes. So that means if you can join in about 40-45 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much for your clarification. I appreciate it a lot, guys. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Apologies again to everyone for having to wait around. We've got a very packed agenda today. So should we move on to item 7?
Chair, can we just check with Monsieur that the recording has resumed?
Yes, of course.
Monsieur? Hello?
Yeah, the live stream's still on. Yeah.
Yeah, have you resumed it now? Yes?
Yeah, it's resumed. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, appreciated. Right, I'm just getting to my applicable page. Right, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your patience. So we're moving on to agenda item 7, which is a new premise license. Suba, yes.
Sorry, is Councillor Lufkin is rejoining? He's not in this call.
Yeah, sorry, just bear with us a moment, please. Yeah, just 1 minute.
Problem.
Yeah, good.
We've had to move some of the councillors back and forth due to any conflicts, so we're getting the appropriate councillor back in now.
Yeah, he's on the way. Thank you.
No problem at all. We'll wait a moment. Here we are. Welcome, Councillor Lufkin.
Hello again, everybody.
Hello. So we will start, I think. I'd like to confirm that the subcommittee has received and reviewed the additional information submitted by the applicant in response to the representations. This was circulated in supplementary paper 1. I've been advised that the following persons are in attendance for this application. When I call your name, if you can identify yourself, that would be great. So we have the applicant, Adam Klein and Corinne Tuplin. Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Hello, yes, it is just me in attendance. No Adam Klein, unfortunately, today.
Absolutely fine, but you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. And then we have other persons. B. I have a name here, but do let me know if you're happy for me to refer. Do we have other persons here? I can't.
No, Chair, not in this call.
Okay, no problem at all. We did have another person on board, but they're not here today. Okay, so I'd like to call the acting principal licence officer to outline the report for up to 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. So the second item we are going to consider is for a premises license received under Section 17 of the Licensing Act 2003 for the premises, the Hungry Yak, 499 Kingsland Road. The premises seeking authorization of supply of alcohol for consumption on the premises from 1700 to 21:45 Sunday and Monday, and from 1200 to 21:45 Tuesday to Saturday. Representation remains from one other person. We have received additional submission from the applicant, and this document has been circulated. I have nothing else to add. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Okay, so can I ask Corinne to speak now and to make your submission, and you can have up to 5 minutes.
Okay, great. My name is Corinne Tuplin, a solicitor at Pro Legal, and the applicant is Gaston and Hugo Limited. For his application is for a premises license inter alia to sell alcohol for the hours which have already been set out. The Laughing Yak is a small restaurant serving Nepalese cuisine for eat-in or takeaway. The dining area covers approximately 20 covers, and the floor plan and office copy entry of title plan is set out on pages 130 and 132 of your appendices. No written representations have been made by the 10 responsible authorities, including planning, environmental health and the police, which would have been the case if they had objected to the licensing application for reasons that it did not satisfy one or more of the 4 licensing objectives. One email representation was made on the 28th of October, marked from and behalf of the local residents. We don't know whether this was one local resident or many residents, but 3 issues were raised. And the first issue is an objection to this application because of unspecified planning conditions relating to the granting of historic retail A1 change of user not having been met. The second was an objection based on the suitability of the premises for licensed activities, and the third was an objection based on the, quote, potential for public nuisance and compliance. We responded to this letter on the 14th of November, and we confirmed that our client had no prior involvement in the premises when it was authorised for A1 use, and that in any event, the classification A1 use has been obsolete since the 1st of October. following the 2020 regulations. So all of the classes and some D1, D2 user were marked category E, class E. So going forward, those premises can operate as restaurants without the need for a change of user planning application. No response by the third party was received. We are not aware of any planning enforcement actions in relation to the premises or of any complaints having been made. The suitability concern is without merit. The premises have operated in its current configuration since at least October 2021, when it was granted to the previous operator called Supayar Raman Limited. And under this previous management, the operating hours were longer than for the current operation. Premises were previously located in the special area policy, the Dalston Special Area Policy, which required more stringent conditions than would otherwise have been the case. No complaints have been made, as far as we're aware, in respect of the premises under the previous management even. With regards to the public nuisance allegation, a generic statement of this kind without specific justification, without clarification, means that it is impossible for our client to assess or address the potential risk referred to. Such a representation, we say, should be respectfully dismissed by the licensing authority. Just a very brief point about the blue notice. Pursuant to that, the responsible authorities, including planning, environmental health and the police, had until the 12th of November to issue written representations against this application, which would have involved consideration of the email of the 28th of October. They would have done so if there'd been any cause for concern. No written representations were made, and planning and environmental health in particular are not in agreement with the objections made. As a result, we are not aware of any planning enforcement actions in relation to the premises or of any complaints having been made. So we say, in light of those circumstances, our premises license application should be approved on the basis that it is satisfied all four licensing objectives and received no objections from any responsible authority. I hope I've kept within my 5 minutes.
You certainly have. Have you concluded? Oh, you're on mute. I presume that was a yes.
I have concluded, yes.
Thank you so much. Can I ask the subcommittee if they want to make any points of clarity, if they have any questions at this stage?
Not really, Chair. I mean, it's quite, the issues have been addressed, I think, and it's quite a small premises in my view. So, and the hours are well inside the operating, the normal hours. I don't really have any further questions, to be honest. Thanks.
Okay, I'm just looking to see if I have any. No, not at this stage. We don't have any other persons present, do we? Is that right? No, none. Okay. We do have quite a bit of extra time should it be needed. I think I would be keen to hear about, there was a comment that you made about the suitability being questioned, being without merit. What makes you so sure that it is without merit? Can you argue against it being an unsuitable place?
There's no reason to say that it is not an unsuitable place. The objection was based on the suitability without providing any reasons why it would not be suitable. I can't forward any I can't provide any further submissions in relation to that. It seems a perfectly suitable premises. That seems without question, and there's no evidence that says it's not suitable.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Councillor Lufkin, did you want to pick up on that or anything else?
No, they're really addressed in the submission. They really addressed all the points. Do you know what I mean? And particularly the planning one, and planning's a separate regime anyway. So yeah,
yes.
I mean, and it's well inside the operating hours, and and it's a small place as well. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really have, I don't really have anything to, but any further questions.
Mm-hmm. My only other thought was in terms of ongoing resident engagement, engagement with local people, other business owners. What plans are in place to help with that?
They are set out in the licensing conditions from page 115, is it? That if there's any issues at all, then they can be discussed openly. My client is a friendly operator. The previous operator had no issues. There have been no complaints made as far as we're aware. If there had been, then the licensing relevant responsible authorities would have been in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. As with all licenses, though, we do say that the onus is on the owner of the establishment to just be proactively reaching out to the community. So just want to encourage that. So just because there's been nothing thus far, you want to guard against that. I think that's most of my questions. Councillor Lufkin, anything else from you?
No, thanks, Chair. That's really covers it. And yeah, just want to say again the importance of just keeping good relations with your neighbours. That's always just so helpful. You know what I mean, to prevent any further problems. But yeah,
Yes.
other than that, I think we've covered everything. Thanks.
In relation to that, I think one of our neighbours is next on the agenda.
Okay. Well, we'll have to treat that totally separately, but that's nice to know. You can have a couple of minutes to conclude, to summarise if there's anything else that you think we need to hear or would be useful for us.
In this case, it's pretty straightforward, as you can see. His submissions were only 5 pages. There were no submissions from any responsible authorities. No one has made a complaint. There has been no issues with this premises as far as we're aware. So on the basis of submissions, the premises license should go ahead as per the application made.
Thank you. So we will be sending you a decision within the next 5 working days. A skeleton decision will be available from the licensing service after the hearing, 5 working days after the hearing. So thank you for your time. Really appreciated. Thank you for your clarity. And I think we'll be concluding agenda item 7 at that stage then. So you're free to go, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lufkin.
Yeah, just going to turn on my light. So I'm just going to disappear for a second, if that's okay.
You're in darkness. I was starting to worry slightly. Have we just got officers? We've got the police, haven't we? Yeah. So having said that we would be 40 minutes, we've now gone ahead of time, haven't we? So is it possible to get the applicant back? Sorry, Amanda or Suba.
Sure, Chair. Mr. Hopkins, he's representing for the next item, which is 163 Mass Street. Oh, the other person, that was for temporary notice.
Oh, that's for the 10.
That's
okay.
right,
Oh, fantastic. Apologies for that. That's all right. Welcome everyone then. All right, let's start. Have we, Councillor Lufkin, are you in light? Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to move on to agenda item 8, which is the Turkish doner kebab on 163 Mayor Street, London Fields Ward. I'd like to confirm that the subcommittee has received and reviewed the additional conditions submitted by the applicant, and I've been advised that the following persons are in attendance. So when I call your name, please, if you can, identify yourself. So we have the agent for the applicant, Mahir Kilek.
Sorry, Chair. I think Mr. Hopkins is representing the premises. Am I right, Mr. Hopkins?
I am indeed, Chair.
All right. So Mahir Kilek is not applicable, no?
He's Mr. Killick is not.
Okay,
I know he's around. I've just spoken to him.
that's
But-
absolutely fine. So you will be representing. We have your name, and you're very welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
And the applicant, Navit Yiditz.
No, Chair, she's not in attendance.
No problem. So it's just yourself for the
Yes, Chair.
application. And then we have the responsible authority from the police in attendance, which was Amanda Griggs, but I think it looks like it is now Neil. Is that right?
Chair, my understanding was that Amanda had agreed reduction in hours, etc., with Narts yesterday.
Okay. I will hand over to the officers to talk, please.
I think this was all sent to Scenario.
Sorry, Neil.
Mr. Hopkins, wants to say something.
Hang on, Suba.
Sorry, Chair. I didn't receive any correspondence from PC Griggs. I don't know if Mr. Hopkins can help us out. The only correspondence I have are those conditions which I've circulated.
Chair, my understanding is that Mr. Killick spoke to, excuse me, emailed the conditions to to PC Griggs yesterday to deal with the traffic management plan. We also agreed an additional condition: there be no alcohol permitted on the premises or consumed on the premises. I do know Mr. Killick has been trying to contact PC Griggs this morning and this afternoon. He updated me a few minutes ago, and he hasn't been able to get hold of her. We were hoping that the police were satisfied and we'd withdraw the rep, but we're here, so it is what.
Thank you. Amanda, have you got any guidance?
I think we need to check with the police, PC Hunwick, whether or not it is the case that the police have withdrawn their representation, because
All right.
that was what I understand that that's what there was no confirmation, and therefore we couldn't formally have this as delegated authority. So we do. Oh, I think PC Hunwick has just left the meeting.
He left and then rejoined, so he may
Has
be
he
about to...
rejoined? Okay.
No, he hasn't now, but
Oh,
he
we need
a
to
minute
wait a few
ago he
minutes.
left and then rejoined, so it
Yeah.
may be a connection issue or something. But Suba, yes.
Sorry, Chair. Even through the chair, if Mr. Hopkins can confirm if there's been any agreement with the others as well, just for the clarification.
Not to my knowledge, no. We were waiting on the police to come back to Mr. Killick, but they haven't. So I presume we have to go ahead.
Chair, I think that the thing is, because there's not certainty as to what's happening, I don't know if we should proceed to hear it, unless the licensing officer wants us to hear it. Otherwise, I would put this matter back and then hear the temporary event notice in the meantime to give the police a chance to come back to confirm their position, because it may be that there isn't a need to hear it. So if they read everything, so.
I think we need to clarify what's happened. It sounds like there's been a slight communication breakdown. But Natalie, did you want to come in?
Sorry, I was just going to suggest the same thing. I was going to suggest that we have an adjournment. PC Hunwick has just rejoined the meeting, but it may be better as we have the premises user for the 10s available that we hear that item first whilst officers go behind the scenes and try and contact the police to see if there has what the latest update is with regard to that application.
Okay, can I just double check with PC Neil I'm only getting half the name, so I really apologise. The police. Sorry, my computer's only it's shrunk you. Do we have any updates from you at all?
I thought PC Hunwick had rejoined. Yeah.
He has, yeah. PC Hunwick, are you there? No, just left the meeting. Okay. Mr. Hopkins, I really apologise for the toing and froing with this, but I think it would be good to get clarification just in case we don't need to proceed anyway. So apologies.
He's come back, he's arrived.
Just rejoined. Okay.
So apologies, my laptop has kicked me out and won't restart, so I had to do it on
I
the phone.
said that it would be that. Have you got any updates that can help this situation?
I was sitting next to Amanda, and I was sure. I don't know what you've just been discussing, but Amanda, who was dealing with it, I'm pretty sure spoke to me here yesterday and agreed conditions, hours, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
I can't get hold of her because she's at a funeral today, so I'm loath to ring her.
okay.
But that was all sent off. I'm sure it was sent off the scenario.
We need confirmation that the police have withdrawn, Chair. That's the thing.
So what we're going to do, PC Hunwick, I think, is we'll go and speak to the next application, which is the 10. In the meantime, if you can find some evidence, I realise not wanting to interrupt an important day for her. So, but if there's anything else that you can do so that we don't have to proceed.
If quite frankly, I mean, if Amanda had not agreed it or agreed something with them, she would have left me to deal with it, knowing that I was here today. So, I mean, I don't know whether Graham can get hold of me here, see what was agreed.
We need to see the email to confirm whether it says withdrawn.
Probably it's going to be sent. It's going to be sent from her inbox, so I'm not going to have access to it.
Okay. We can ask the licensing officer to check at her end with the case officer to see whether or not anything's been received, and if Mr. Hopkin can also make some active inquiries now with Mr. Mahir Kilik, then we can then deal with that at the end. Thank you.
So I do apologise, Mr. Hopkins, if you're able to jump off and just do a bit of investigation, we will go on to the final agenda item for today. And then if you can rejoin, how much time do you recommend, Amanda? Should we say 20 minutes, half an hour?
Yeah, well, once we finish the next item, then we will.
Okay, so let's reconvene in about half an hour on item 7, which means that we've got item 8 only to do. Sorry, no, item 9, agenda item 9. Okay. Is everyone present on the call that's to do with agenda item 9?
Is our licensing officer here? I think she is. Yeah.
Okay. So the 10 has been circulated in supplementary paper 2. Members have received and reviewed the additional information in the form of a police witness statement. And this is about agenda item 9, temporary event notice, bar 133 to 135 Stoke Newington Road. Amanda.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. I think that the applicant, or it's not the applicant, sorry, the premises license holder who had asked what time we were rejoining. I don't know if they've come back. Could we just check?
Yeah, in the call. He's in the call.
They are present.
I'm getting a wave from all around events. Is that right?
Yes, I am the representative for Bar. My name is Kyriakos Poulos. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. And you've got ahead of yourself with that. So thank you. Appreciate you saying who you are. And then the responsible authority is Neil Hunwick. So if you can give us a wave, Neil Hunwick, please. PC Neil Hunwick. I can see. Great, thank you. I know you're having some computer problems. So I'd like to ask the Principal Licensing Officer to outline the report, and you have up to 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. A temporary event notice was given to the licensing service in respect of the premises bar 133 to 135 Stoke Newington Road for an event to be held on 31st of December 2024 from midnight and finishing on 31st of December 2024 at 4:30 a.m. We have received an objection from the police. We have also received a witness statement from the police, and this document has been circulated, and I have nothing else to add. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I don't have in my notes that the next person should be all around, should be
Neil Hunwick, PC Neil Hunwick. Because
it's not saying premises user has a
No. The next person will be the applicant in this case for the temporary event, which is PC Neil Hunwick. He needs to make his representation before all-round events.
Apologies. Okay.
Premises user. Thank you.
Sorry, Amanda. The applicant for the temporary event notice is all-around events. They're applying for it.
That's the confusion, because at the moment it says the police next, and I think it needs to be the applicant. Is that right?
Well,
sorry, Chair. It has to be the RS to provide the reasons why they're objecting to this temporary event notice, and then it will be the premises user, which is the all-around events.
Sorry,
Okay.
slightly different because it's a temporary event notice.
No
Because
problem
it's
at
an
all.
objection. The reason why it's come to committee is because the police are objecting to the application.
That's
I
fine.
do
It's
apologise
just-
for using the word application, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. Just wanted to clarify we're doing it in the right order so that everyone gets a chance to speak. Okay, so can I then ask the police to make submissions for up to 5 minutes, please?
Yeah, Chair, thank you. I take it you've all read my statement with the various breaches, etc., that we found following the review that we carried out after a serious incident that occurred outside. I'm not going to read the statement because it will take longer than 5 minutes, but I've listed all the serious stuff there that relates mainly to safety and searching at the premises. As a result of the licensing subcommittee, one of the actions was the removal of the DPS. It subsequently transpired in the meeting that the DPS had already removed herself like a month earlier, and as such, the venue had been trading without a valid DPS. As a result of this ongoing situation, the licensing, London Borough Hackney Licensing, actually wrote to the licence holder on the Friday the 22nd November, stating that any sales of alcohol would be illegal. On Saturday, the 23rd of November, police further visited the venue and found it operating fully as it normally had done. The DPS that they had, the venue had tried to put back in, who was the original DPS, very, very complicated. Anyway, she had knowledge that there was no valid DPS in post and just said that it was a technicality and they'd sort it in the fullness of time. Subsequent to that, a valid DPS transfer has been made. However, all these events put together leads us with no confidence whatsoever that the venue is operating as it should do. We've had no assurances, we've had nothing from them. They seem to have treated in a very lackadaisical manner with regards to the 15 different breaches of their licensing conditions. And as such, we asked that this be, counter noticed. We've got no, if they can't run the venue in normal hours, then we don't see that they should be given any sort of extension. And on that basis, until they can show and demonstrate us that they're doing everything they should be doing, then no extension should be given. And that's my submission. Thank you.
Appreciated. Thank you. Can I ask the subcommittee if they would like any points clarified at this stage, please?
No, I'd like to hear from the applicant and then we'll go through to the discussion, I think, Chair, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will hand over to the applicant then, please, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Hi everyone. So yes, I would like to point here that obviously we had the issues with the an incident which happened a couple of months ago, and the committee and the licensing have identified some issues on our operation. I would like to reassure now we have taken a very serious note of everything that has been stipulated on the commission and what they have asked us to go by. We even on the 15 premises license conditions that they have been outlined that we need to obey. We have put measures in place now. We have been running the venue for the last 2 months until 3:30 without no incidents whatsoever. For the police to acknowledge that we should not be given extended license because we potentially or might break any of the conditions, I just find it really nonsense. We taking seriously what we do at the venue. We have done over 20 events for the last 2 months. We never had any incidents, and over the last 4.5 years since the venue has been operated, we have been given over 120 tents back-to-back 2 days. Is 62 times 2, 125 tents over the last 4.5 years, of which we never had any issues, any problems, and the police have been majorly supported on our events that we've been running at the event. Now, for the police to come back and say that they're not having any confidence on our operations, I'm ready to say that, but we have implemented strongly all the procedures, anything that is required for the venue to run safely. The police have made no effort to even come down and see us or visit us to show them that we have put procedures in place and certainly all the conditions that they have been allegedly breached since the incidents 2 months ago, which we need to make sure that it didn't happen outside the venue, not in the venue, it was happening very far away from the venue, which we have no jurisdiction there, and due of care. And we only put in the tents for this, for New Year Eve, only because it's taking place on a Tuesday, which is a very odd day. Otherwise, we will have no really need to. And the only reason we need to is just because we need to run the event until the early hours of the morning, which is 4 o'clock. We're looking for the tents. Me and my team at the venue, we even decided to pause any events of that nature that has caused us the issues 2 months ago at the premises. And all events that we're putting now in place and we're hosting at the venue, the very safe events we have been doing them for many, many years now. And the event I have on New Year Eve as well, it's a client which I have tested and used for the last 4 years, and I've done over 6 events with them. And it doesn't pose no issue to the venue whatsoever. And the tents is only, we need to apply for just purely because it's falling on a Tuesday, and unfortunately our license is only until 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, and we're looking to extend it purely because we don't have the hours, the license hasn't got the hours that we need to run the event for, hence why we need to apply for the tents. However, I would like to reassure Neil and PC Neil and everyone in the community that we have taken seriously the outcome of the previous meeting we have for the incidents that took place at the venue, and everything has been requested. We implemented strongly at the venue. Sadly, the police hasn't come to see us and see we have a new DPS now in place, a security female and male in place. The set is taking place where the camera is showing and records everything that the security does on site. We have signs on site. So all the procedures that have been requested and all the measurements are in place to ensure the safety run of the premises. And we have proved that over the last 3-4 weeks. We have done over 20 events and nothing has been recorded or has been flagged at the venue. And I just want to ensure that, we're here to, to run a successful and a safe place for everyone. And we want the police to support on that, but the police hasn't been in here to see us since the incident and since the incident took place and the meeting took place, and we have no support for them whatsoever. And we'd like to invite them down to see us at the venue to discuss further and to see the precautions and the measurements that we have were taking place to ensure the safety of the running of the events. And that's the only reason we want the tents to be applied for 31st, purely because it's falling on a Tuesday and not for any other day.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to open up to a discussion time now. I've got a few questions, but Councillor Lufkin, is there anything you want to respond about either of those statements at this stage?
I mean, really, I need to hear from PC Hunlock about what he says in response to the submission that we've just heard. They're saying they've done it all.
Yeah.
And you're saying no, they haven't. I mean, what do you have to say to that? I mean, it's just
okay. What I'd say, Councillor, is that they've been caught out not operating as they should do. Okay, so the previous history of tens, etc., that's neither here nor there, because we cannot be in every bar every week checking what's going on. A serious incident occurred which led us to have a look at this particular venue, and a number of issues were identified. Now, it's not true to say that we haven't been down there since. We did, as I've explained to you, and we found them operating without a DPS. Okay, now by Kiri's own admissions, they've been operating for the last couple of months. All that time, they've not had a valid DPS in post. That leads to me to believe that they don't know how to run it properly.
No.
Because all those sales of alcohol, okay, were unlawful and can be subject to prosecution. So it's all very well to say, oh yeah, the police haven't been down. It's not how we have been down, but they haven't invited us in to show us how they've tightened up the procedures. They've left that moment until now where they're trying to persuade you that they should be given their 10. And it's our assertion that we have not had that proof. We've not had that engagement from them. We would expect any venue that's had its premises license reviewed to be all over the police, trying to demonstrate to them that they've taken it seriously. And we've not had that from this venue.
Okay.
No,
No, sorry. As chair, I want to respond to that. We do need clarification then. So as a minimum, PC Hunwick is saying that they did attend on the 23rd, the day after, and found a breach. So they have at least been once, and I do think that there is an onus on the applicants, the venue holder, to actually be proving to the police proactively what you are doing. I will bring in Councillor Lufkin at this stage, and then we can hear back from you.
Thanks, Chair. I mean, yeah, you've just said it right. I mean, all I would add is that you're going for a temporary event notice on what will be an enormously busy day of the year. Okay, the police need to have confidence that you'll run it properly. They just don't. Do you know what I mean? And they're making quite significant, points of fact. Have they been or not? And we're likely to. If the police are saying they have been, and you're saying they haven't, I mean, I'm inclined to say that probably the police are right. You need to address these points, because as the chair has said, you're going for a license, a late night license. You need to be really proactive, on this, and I'm not really hearing that, if I'm honest.
Mr. Poulos, you can respond.
Yes. I didn't say they've never been. They went down. PC Lucy came down purely only to see the DPS if has been changed, and they came down. I'm not disputing that, okay? But they never came down to see exactly how do we operate. On that sense, we have done in this venue, as I said, 120 tents before. We never had any issues, and we know how to run the event. We've been doing it successfully without any issues. That was an issue, an isolated incident that happened not at the venue, away from the venue, but unfortunately the two perpetrators were at the venue at the time. Now, of course, since the incident and the police advice, we have taken serious measures here to ensure this does not repeat or happens in any way. We even had the metal detector device outside the venue in place. The 10 people that has been requested to be at one time outside, separate entrance from into the venue, and separate area where the smoking area is. To have a female and male as well, security on site. All this, whatever the police have requested, we do provide. And I don't understand why the police feel that up to a certain time we can operate normal, but then after a certain time where we need to apply for the tents, the police feel that we cannot apply, we cannot operate properly the venue. For the last 20 events we've done at the venue, we've done until 3:30. Not a single incident has occurred, and nothing, because purely we apply all the procedures and all the conditions that police and the commission has requested for us to obey. And we strongly believe that we know how to run the events successfully without causing any issues in the vicinity and outside the venue.
Okay. PC Hunwick, can I ask a broader question? Is there a case in your mind that this could be an isolated incident, that they've responded well, and that they do have a track record of being able to run tens, being able to operate well? Can I hear your thoughts on the bigger picture, I guess?
I think the point here is, Chair, is that, as I said earlier, this brought this venue onto our radar. From what we could see from all the CCTV that we looked at, these were systematic long-term failings. And unfortunately,
please don't interrupt. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they run out of luck. Okay, where this incident occurred is irrelevant. This is about the safety of their customers and the failure of their searching regime and failure to check identity and all the rest of it. And these are not things that have been requested. These are conditions on their license that they had to abide by each and every night. Now, as I've said to you before, any confidence we had in the past has gone as a result of this. It's shown up systematic failings. And until they demonstrate to us, and I'm sorry, just running, we've not had any incidents in the last 2 months since the gun was in our venue. It's like, it's irrelevant. They need to come to us, and as Councillor Lufkin has put, this is the most important night of the year for the nighttime economy. Policing is extremely stretched, and we have lost any confidence in this particular venue, and they should demonstrate to us, not us having to come and check to them. And we did. PC Kerry Ryan was in the venue for 47 minutes with her interactions with the non-DPS. And as I say, it's not just that. Since this review was brought, they've been operating without a DPS. It's the fundamentals that somebody is legally responsible for the sales of alcohol, and that went on for nearly 2 months after the review hearing. This is not a venue that can be trusted to deal with day-to-day stuff.
So in your mind, this is a systemic. I will bring in Richard, and then I will bring you back in, Mr. Paulos. But I just want to clarify with PC Hunwick, this is a systemic rather than a one-off.
That's the way we're looking at it. We need to be shown moving forward that they can run this venue in line with their conditions. And as we stand sitting in front of you at the moment, I don't have that confidence.
Okay, thank you very much. That was helpful. Councillor Lufkin.
PC Hunwick, is it right? We heard from the applicant that they put in place things like metal detectors and stuff like that. Have you witnessed that or anything, or you've just not been there you've not been able to go there and they've not been contacting you to prove it? Is that right?
At the time of PC Ryan, when she went there on the 22nd, she didn't see any metal detectors. Whether they've subsequently got metal detectors, I don't know. But then they were supposed to have metal detectors at the time of the incident, and they didn't. So
okay, thanks.
again,
I've heard enough. Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Paulos.
Yes, it was only purchased a couple of weeks ago, the metal detector, and is outside the venue, and we use it now. As I said before, it was an isolated incident because it was a kind of a party that we have now decided to stop hosting in this venue. The venue we have now moving forward are all safe and they have no causes issue because we have been hosting these events for the last 4.5 years. It was an isolated incident, and we regretfully that this happened. But what I need to make sure is that this doesn't happen at the venue or outside the venue, it happens away from the venue. I understand that the police are concerned about it, but we have taken every precaution that we have suggested by the committee and by licensing, all the conditions we apply now, and we can confidently prove that we can run events at a late stage. And as I said, if it wasn't for the New Year Eve falling on a Tuesday, I would have not have to apply for a temporary event notice. So the police would have allowed me to do it if I was on my normal operational hours, but because it's falling outside my operational hours, they don't feel confident that I can run the event successfully. And that's where I can see the contradiction here. We've been working with the police, and to be honest, I've been trying to get hold of the PC Neil for the last 2 weeks, failing either by email or by call. I haven't had anyone be able to get through because I would like them to come down and see what we have done since the incident took place, and we want the police to help us to run the event successfully and advise us whenever it is required. We would like that, and we have proved that in the past because the venue has run for 4.5 years under my management without any issues, a part of this isolated incident, because it's an isolated incident. It was a good wake-up call for us, yes. Maybe we'll be relaxed, but on the procedures and everything, but we're taking very serious the operation of the venue and the way we run the events, and things now are in place, and we have got, as I said, female, male security. If it's over 150 people, get a third person to come and help us out. We've got a warden on site as well to help out with the smoking area, with dispersion of the people, so we don't cause any incidents or any noise pollution on the area. And we have proved that for the last 20 events we've done, and we have no any problem. So I don't know why the police doesn't believe that we are capable of running a successful event outside the operation hours, because obviously we have to apply the terms.
I will bring you in a moment, Neil. I just want to summarise. I think there is a difference of opinion in terms of what the heart of the problem is. You are saying that this is a one-off isolated event. The police are saying that there is a wider context and a wider issue. I think that the issue, though, is that it's on you to prove otherwise and to reassure police and public. Yeah. And my slight concern is that you've leapt to the biggest event of the year to prove that, and I think that's maybe not the wisest thing to have done, but I can hear that there's a difference of opinion. So I would like to bring in PC Hunwick, and then I will bring you back in, and then we will have to summarise. So PC Hunwick.
Yeah, Chair, I mean, again, just harking back, these 20 events that have taken place, they've happened without a DPS in post. So even after we had the review hearing, and one of the things that was defined is that the DPS had to be removed, they didn't replace them. So these events have all been unlawful. So we would like to see, moving forward, the venue operating under the conditions it always should have done, but this is not the night to prove it. And that's really where I'm going to leave it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Paulus.
I mean, yes, I do understand it's a busy night, for the police, and I appreciate that. But we're not waiting to prove to the police we can do the job properly on New Year Eve. We have done events before, and we're still having a lot of events coming up this week, next week, which runs until 3:30. So we're talking about, trying to prove to the police what? I don't understand, because and when PC Neil says you have to do it on a long term, how long that will take to prove to the police you can do the job without any incidents? There has been no incidents at the venue for the last 4.5 years. It's only been only once, that the police has never been called, and specifically that it didn't happen at the venue. So how can I prove to the police that I'm doing properly my job when they don't even come down to see us and talk to us and see how we operate on the night? I'm inviting them anytime to come and see me. I have no problem. We know how to run the events. We've done it for the last 4.5 years and for the last 15 years before me. So yes, it's a busy night to New Year Eve, but the event I have here is a private event. It's not even open to the public, the event I have here. So I know which client I can put in to mitigate or any issues or any incidents on the night. And I know what I need to bring here at the venue. And now, since that incident happened, we have stopped booking or taking bookings for events of that nature, just to ensure that this does not repeat at our venue.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Lufkin, any points for clarity? Any final questions at all? Okay. I think I'm going to draw this to a conclusion then. We will be concluding the meeting, and you will receive a... Can I just double check with Suba how long for a written response for this one? Is it the same?
This one is, because it's a temporary notice of 2 working days. Am I right, Amanda?
How many days, sorry?
I'm just getting clarification. I think it is less than a usual. So is it 2, Amanda?
Yes, we try to let them know either today or by tomorrow the decision. So yes, so that decision will be made straight away. So that, whether or not you're going to issue a counter notice or not.
Okay, appreciated. Thank you very much. I will conclude this part of the meeting. Thank you for your time, both of you. You're free to go.
Thank you, Chair. I've managed to get hold of Amanda. I'm hoping Suba has had an email.
Yes, Chair. Sorry, I just put my hands up to say that the application has been approved under the delegated authority, so we don't require hearing for the item 163 Mass Street.
Okay, one less to do. That's great. Thank you, everyone, for your work.
You were here for a long time for that, Graham, weren't you?
Oh, great. Sorry.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you very much.
Don't worry, Graham, you still have charged for it. You'll be all right.
Thanks very much, everybody.
All the best.
See you all later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Everyone else stay on the line a moment.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I sent an email to confirm that. PC Griggs has sent through an email, so that's been sent to you to just confirm. Thank you. Thank you, Suba, for your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Right, so we need to reconvene.
No, you can stay in this meeting room. Sorry, because it's at the end of all your applications now, isn't it?
Great. Well done, Richard.
Well done. Well done.
Okay. Monsieur, we've now come to the end of the meeting. Can you stop the live stream, please?
Thank you. Thank